Before there were superheroes in comic books, before there were legends in mythology, there was a real man, chosen by God before he was even born, given a gift no human being had ever received, strength beyond anything the world had ever seen. His name was Samson, and his story is not what most people think. This is what really happened. The story begins with a woman who couldn't have children. Her name is not even recorded in scripture. She is simply called the wife of Manoah. But God saw her, and one day an angel appeared to her with a message that would change history. You are barren and childless, but you are going to become pregnant and give birth to a son. But this was no ordinary birth announcement. The angel gave her specific instructions. The child must never drink wine or cut his hair, because this child would be set apart for God from the moment he entered the world. He would be a Nazarite, consecrated, chosen, separated for a holy purpose. His name would be Samson, and God had a plan for him before he took his first breath. As Samson grew, something extraordinary became clear. The Spirit of the Lord was upon him in a way nobody had ever seen before. His strength was not natural, it was supernatural. One day, a young lion came roaring toward him. Judges 14:6 records what happened. The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him, and he tore the lion apart with his bare hands, as he might have torn a young goat. No weapon, no help, just his hands. On another day, the Philistines came against him with an army. Samson picked up the jawbone of a donkey and struck down 1,000 men. One man, one jawbone, 1,000 enemies. This was the man God had raised up to deliver Israel. But Samson had a problem. Despite his extraordinary gift, he had an extraordinary weakness: women. Again and again, Samson's heart led him into dangerous territory. He fell in love with Philistine women, the very enemies of Israel. He made decisions based on desire instead of destiny. His parents warned him. God warned him through circumstances. But Samson kept choosing his own way, and the enemy was watching, waiting, looking for the one crack in his armor. Then came Delilah. The Philistine leaders came to her with a proposition: find out the secret of Samson's strength, and they would each pay her 1,100 pieces of silver. Delilah agreed. She used the most powerful weapon available to her. Not a sword, not an army, love. Night after night she asked him, "Tell me the secret of your great strength." 3 times Samson lied to her. 3 times she tried to use his answer to capture him. 3 times she failed, but she didn't give up. Judges 16:16 says, "With such nagging she prodded him day after day until he was sick to death of it." And finally, Samson broke. "No razor has ever been used on my head," he told her. "If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me." That night, while Samson slept on Delilah's lap, she called for someone to shave his head. 7 locks of hair, gone. And the Bible records the most heartbreaking words in all of Scripture. He did not know that the Lord had left him. He did not know. He woke up thinking he was the same man he had always been. He thought he would shake himself free as before. But the Spirit was gone. The Philistines seized him immediately. They gouged out his eyes, leaving him in permanent darkness. They bound him with bronze shackles. They threw him in prison and made him grind grain like an animal. The most powerful man who ever lived, blind, broken, and chained. The man God had set apart before birth, now a prisoner. The champion of Israel, grinding grain in a dungeon. How did it come to this? One choice at a time. But the story doesn't end there, because God's purposes are never canceled by human failure. In prison, something began to happen. Samson's hair began to grow back. The Philistines threw a great celebration to their god Dagon, praising him for delivering Samson into their hands. They brought Samson out of prison to entertain them. Thousands of people filled the temple, the rulers, the leaders, everyone who was anyone in Philistia. And they laughed at the blind, broken giant. Samson asked the servant leading him to place his hands on the 2 central pillars that held up the temple. He stood between them. And for the first time in a long time, Samson prayed, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just one more time. Just one more time, not for revenge, not for glory, for God's purpose to be fulfilled." Samson pushed with everything he had, his hands pressed against the 2 pillars. "Let me die with the Philistines." and the Spirit of God, one final time, came upon the blind, broken, chained man in the dungeon of his enemies. The pillars gave way. The temple came crashing down. Thousands of Philistine rulers and soldiers gone in an instant. The Bible records, thus he killed many more when he died than while he lived. His greatest victory came at his lowest moment. His most powerful act came after his greatest failure. Here is what the story of Samson teaches us. Your gift will take you further than your character can sustain, unless you guard your heart. Samson had the greatest gift, but he never mastered himself. He was called to deliver Israel, but he spent most of his life chasing personal desires. Yet God never abandoned him completely, even in the prison, even in the blindness, even after the greatest failure of his life, God still answered his prayer. Your failures do not disqualify you from God's purpose, but they will cost you. Guard your heart. Master your desires, because the enemy doesn't need to overpower you. He just needs to distract you. Samson's story is a warning and a promise at the same time. A warning that even the most gifted person can fall when they stop guarding their heart. A promise that even after your greatest failure, God can still use you for something greater than you imagined. Your story is not over. Subscribe to Faith Chronicles for more powerful Bible stories every week. Stories that will strengthen your faith and transform your life.